It's the final sport of the week, and it's angling. And earlier this week, I caught up with John Mitchell from the Hull and District Anglers Association. I have to say, I thought it was on the decline, but the Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire areas, it's on the up again, apparently, says John.
Well, it is, and it's I suppose it's always been popular. It's just been a bit beneath the surface. Quite a lot of people who play other sports use angling as a sort of relaxation, really.
Oh, right.
To wind down. Quite a lot of the Olympians, actually, if you talk to them, people like Dean Macy, the decathlon, he goes fishing a lot. Really? To wind down after his training session.
And are there any people in the region that are kind of quite high in angling? In
terms of competitiveness and being... well, across the Yorkshire and Humber region, yes, there are quite a few people who have featured prominently in the international events. They tend to migrate towards certain centres of excellence, and Barnsley's always been, strangely, been a centre of excellence. Just
really?
Because there've been some good anglers there in the past, and they've recruited other people from other areas.
Okay. You've been holding some Dads and Lads events, I believe, as well, at South Holderness Technology College.
Well, we did one there last year, which was quite successful, to get the parents and children working in collaboration rather than arguing with each other.
Well, yeah, I suppose it might build a bit of sort of team spirit between people like that.
Well, it does, yeah. It was quite well received, that, and we'd like to run some more of those.
You're running some sessions for kids and newcomers, something that sort of come and try it sessions, is this right?
Yes, we're running a series of events at our facilities at Brough Fisheries down at Welton Waters.
Oh, right.
Over the summer. People just come up, try it, see what they think of it, and then we'll sort of try and recruit them onto longer courses and get them involved. Because one of the things that we've found in the past that a lot of people, lots of particularly young boys have said, oh yes, I've been fishing. I went with my mates a couple of times, but I didn't really like it because I didn't really know what I was doing, and they didn't really know what they were doing. So what we found that people who actually get, and this applies to all sports, people who get sort of brought into it on the right footing, given the right instructions to start with, are much more likely to stay with it.
And I suppose it's the kit as well. You know, you're borrowing and begging kit from people. It's not ideal if it doesn't all match properly, does it?
Well, that's very true. Yes, and also there's people often get, if they buy their own stuff to start with, because they don't know what to get. They get inappropriate equipment, which makes it difficult as well for them to succeed.
Yeah, I suppose there's a bit more technique to it than dangling a bit of line over a bridge when you were a kid on the end of a stick. There's quite a lot of technology involved in angling these days.
There is a lot of technology, but it can get too confusing for people. And what we try and do with young people, learners, is just keep it simple. Just try and do. I always say that success in angling, except to moderate level, is like success in almost all walks of life. It's about doing the simple things well. If you can do the simple things well, then you don't get as easily disillusioned when you're faced with some slightly more difficult problems.
Yeah.
If you can't do the simple things well, you're lost, really.
Like anything, then, I guess it's a skill that you have to learn, really.
Yes, yeah, quite true. It's and some just don't get it at all. I mean, there's quite a bit of hand-eye coordination, which is why the sort of lower age limit, usually we're talking about people about 9 years old. Below that, a lot of youngsters, some are quite good, but some just don't seem to have the hand-eye coordination to be able to do things.
Well, I guess it's that difference between some people being academic and some being practical. You've got to have a little bit of coordination about you, I suppose, and a feeling for things like that. But you are actually doing stuff in schools as well. You've had quite a big project running, promoting angling in schools and getting children interested. Yeah,
we've been all during the last academic year. We've been going into various schools and doing things either at lunchtime or after school. In five East Riding schools in Cottingham, Wolferton, Hessel, South Holderness, and South Humberside. And we've had some quite positive feedback from them, and some of the lads have got into it and been quite enthusiastic about it.
I suppose it's something that might engage students that maybe aren't doing particularly well in school as well.
Well, it does, and also actually we can use angling to teach all sorts of subjects that sometimes pupils don't realise they're learning, like maths and English and biology and chemistry.
Really? How does that work?
Well, I mean, if angling involves engaging with the environment, so there's quite a lot of biology and chemistry involved there.
Yeah.
We can teach them, and it's quite surprising how they can. They've often heard things. We're dealing with a group of children at one school that had been almost excluded from classes because they're just either disruptive or couldn't cope. We're talking to them about photosynthesis and things like that.
Really?
And they suddenly could remember it all. They'd heard it, but it hadn't really sunk in because they couldn't relate to it. And when we started talking about food chains in aquatic environments, it suddenly all came back to them, and they could recall it, whereas they couldn't remember it. If you just ask them, say, we're doing biology today, they'd say, ooh, we're not doing that. But when you say, well, we're doing fishing, they'd get interested.
Well, it's probably like learning another language, isn't it? If you sit in a classroom, you're maybe not going to do so well as if you're actually in the company of people speaking that language.
Well, that's quite a good analogy.
Learning on the job, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So if people want to get involved, how can they do that?
Well, the best thing is to come along to one of our training sessions, and if they look on our website where we advertise them, that's www.hdaaFishing.co.uk, or if they go on to the Angling in Schools website, again it's just www.anglingInschools.co.uk, and just look at there or send an inquiry through. We can try and direct them towards something that's happening. And
the youngsters, if they want to get involved, they don't necessarily need their own kits then?
Not initially, no. We would recommend them not to come. It's actually, I cringe sometimes when parents turn up with a young child and say he wanted to go fishing, so we bought him this already. I wish you hadn't bothered, really. I wish you'd waited till you'd come and asked us what he needed, rather than bought that. Just leave that in the car, and I'll show him with some of this stuff we've got. Well,
all the best with it, and let's hope this development in schools continues as well.
Yeah. Right, thanks very much, Mark.
John Mitchell, thank you very much indeed.
Right, cheers then. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we go, angling. If you fancy having a go, those web addresses again are hdaaFishing.co.uk. That's all one word, hdaaFishing.co.uk for the Hull and District Anglers Association, or the other one for the schools involvement, Angling in Schools, all one word, anglingInschools.co.uk. Angling, there you go, the new way to teach children maths and sciences. Would you believe it, Mike White?
You wouldn't, would you?